and brother. There is love in this family. Pick yourself up and get on your feet. Don't stop me now, Maui Stylin, don't let me down. 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 Makena Stylin, up country Stylin, Campo Stylin, Kahanapali Stylin, Hana Stylin, Wai'ehu Stylin, Paia Stylin, Keanai Stylin, Maui Stylin, don't let me down. 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 Maui Stylin, don't stop me now. Maui Stylin.
Aloha, this is Jason Schwartz. Welcome to another Mama Presents. Today we have a beautiful guest. This is Laurel White. And as you can tell, you're actually in position. Laurel is a yogi. What do we call it? A yogini. Laurel, locally here, runs a couple of Bikram Yoga studios. Bikram Yoga, yoga in general I know of, and yoga is, many people know about, and Bikram is kind of its own slant. Why don't you start by sharing with our audience, these are the people here of Maui, you see them,
Maui.
a little about yoga and how Bikram is different, and who is Bikram? What is Bikram?
Glad to. Thank you, Jason.
You're welcome.
Bikram Yoga is a form of Hatha Yoga, which is the physical form of yoga that combines the body, the mind, and the spirit, and using physical movements and breath to heal those parts of us, the body, the mind, the soul, the emotional body, the mental body, the physical body. Bikram Choudsbury is from Calcutta, India, came to America and looked at us Westerners and said, of all the thousands or hundreds of poses that have been around for thousands of years, originating in India and China, he said we need 26 poses in a very specific sequence that would heal most of what ails most Westerners due to our cultural lifestyles, which is our eating habits, our way we drive and stress and walk or sit a lot and so forth. And that in the last 30 years has healed most of what ails most of us most of the time. So that's how he had a dream and a vision of coming and healing as many people as possible, and that's where it came from. And he studied and worked this out with Western and Eastern medical doctors, as well as his guru, his teacher, Vishnu Ghosh, who is the brother of Paramahansa Yogananda, the founder of the Self-Realization Fellowship.
Now many of you heard that, and you who already know what yoga is said, oh, that's what it is. But I know that many of the people in our audience see the word yoga and really don't know what yoga is. So if you can help me. Yoga, does it have a meaning by itself? It means movement? It's an exercise program?
Yoga has a huge meaning. Literally, it means sun and moon, ha or hatha is the version that we're talking about of yoga. Yoga has many limbs. Historically, we could talk about it for hours, but basically we're talking about hatha yoga. There are other forms of yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, raja yoga.
What I'm meaning is, to me, yoga is a form of exercise, of poses that when you do them regularly, keep you more fit and limber and in touch with things even that aren't physical, I found. You know, I was never really one to explore yoga, and I had a friend say to me, hey, come with me. I want to introduce you to this woman. She's going to introduce you to Bikram. I thought, Bikram, what? That was a funny word. And then I found that Bikram was actually a person. So Bikram Choudsbury did this 30 years ago.
Came
And
to
he-
America 30 years ago. Shirley MacLaine found him and asked and said, I've got a lot of stressed out friends and we really need the stuff. She found him in India and asked him
Actually,
to come.
I knew that. Shirley MacLaine had all kinds of stressed out friends that you guys know. Quincy Jones, Herb Alpert, all kinds of really celebs. And they were getting stressed out. And so they hired this yoga teacher who employed his own slant on yoga and the practices of hatha yoga, which is part of a larger family of yoga, meaning in the larger definition. But and so now Bikram is doing this, and then you got trained by Bikram actually.
By Bikram. We're certified. Anybody that's teaching Bikram yoga should be certified by him. He's the only one who teaches.
I see.
2 times a year in Los Angeles in his headquarters.
Wow.
And he started training teachers in '95 because people were starting to go out and just start teaching it the way they thought it should be taught. So that's when he decided, okay, it's time for some training. And I was in the second training in '95. I then took it to Australia, introduced it to the Australians. At first they said, what is this? And they still said, what is yoga? So I was demystifying what yoga is as far as the hatha yoga goes. And now they had got to get 80 people in a class there. And then I moved here a couple years ago, introduced it here. And so we started in Paia, and now I'm opening November 2nd in Lahaina.
Wow.
People are asking for it.
So by the time you see this, there'll be a Paia studio and a Lahaina studio. You know, Bikram yoga, as I've experienced it, was really wonderful. You know, I've been busy with these political interviews for a while, and so I've been off the trail of doing yoga regularly, which I know I should be. And I've actually felt a difference. I was doing it probably 2 or 3 months, maybe, when I stopped. And I notice, I physically feel the difference, but also people have noticed that my posture really is not quite what it was. There were lots of benefits from the yoga that I really enjoyed. And what I thought was really intriguing was we got into a room that's warm, that the room is sort of preheated for us because, why is that? What's that about?
Very good question and a very good answer for that. It's a medical reason as well as just what we need for our bodies. Our body temperature on the inside is 98.6. So the idea is that we create that same environment on the outside of the body so that there are less limitations. It's like being back in the womb. There's no limitations, hopefully. And with the sequencing of the 26 poses times 2 each, we move everything in the body from head to toe, skin to bone. Therefore, moving parts and pieces of the body that don't necessarily get moved every day. There's stagnant, static parts that don't get as much oxygen as they need. So therefore, those parts of the body are actually dying and degenerating slower or faster than the parts that we're getting that you normally would move every day. So therefore, we are moving every single inch of the body.
Right.
And we need the heat to warm us up. It's kind of hard to stretch in the middle of the
Well,
polar
I
ice
found
cap.
I found it just so refreshing. By the end of class, I was bathed and looked to be again. I actually bathed in my own sweat, but in just almost no time at all, I found that my whole body cleansed in just a handful of days. It seems like all the toxins in me were just out of me. And when I was maintaining doing it, I got up in the morning, I was feeling fresher, and I really never would have thought that exercising and feeling like I'm exercising so hard could give me more energy than less energy. It was really a wonderful thing. I mean, imagine that, when you go and run in track or do something else, it's different, but I guess there's something really said that Bikram, over the years, I don't know how quickly he developed a final 26, but these poses really are sequenced. I found that when I started, if I would try to do a pose out of sequence, it was a challenge. But when I did them in sequence, I was able to do things I could not believe. I mean, I was able to move with greater mobility than I really ever experienced probably in my whole lifetime.
The sequence is absolutely really what makes it Bikram Yoga with the heat.
And
That
you-
is
you
what
made it a lot of
differentiates
fun.
it.
I mean, I really enjoy being in your class because you pace it. I mean, it was really good. And like, I think it's an hour and a half, I think I recall it was. What a wonderful hour and a half. You know, as I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, well, you know, this is a show about yoga. We can talk for a long time. We should probably do some poses. Any other things that we probably want to say while we're sitting that you can think of offhand? Things that you'd like to be sure to share with the audience?
The one story that I tell everyone so that they really understand what it is and what it can do for them is what happened to me when I first tried it. I ran into an old friend. She didn't have time to chat with me because she was on her way to a Bikram yoga class. She said, come along. So I did. And I just felt so incredible, like I hadn't felt in years after that one class. I decided, the scientist in me likes to kind of prove things sometimes and test theories. I went back every day for 7 days. And at the end of that 7 days, I had lost an inch in my waist, a whole inch. And that's the first thing that happens, is you lose inches. You don't necessarily lose pounds because you're gaining muscle, but you're losing fat. So it voids each other out.
Yeah.
And I was sleeping 2 hours less a night. I didn't need as much sleep. Everything was working better. And this is in 7 days. Also, I had twice as much energy at the end of that 1 week. And so that was it for me. I bought the book and went to class as often as possible, and it's real easy to find that if you do it consistently and consecutively, and that's when you see the results.
You say bought the book. I mean, so
There's a Bikram beginning yoga book. Yeah.
I see.
It's really great bedside reading. It's
But
hilarious.
it's sort of like anything else, you know, Bikram, maybe reading it is of some value. I can't imagine that yoga is any more beneficial. I mean, I can't imagine that the way to learn yoga is through a book. I think it's the physical classes and the movements. Would you be so kind maybe to share with our audience some of the poses that you think might be of value, just to sort of give them a sort of a
Sure.
taste? Is that all right?
Love to. Okay.
You guys want that? Let's do that. Let's go do that right now.
Welcome to Bikram's beginning yoga class. Very important thing to start any yoga or stretching with is the breathing. The difference between stretching and yoga is conscious breathing. Bikram has a very specific breathing technique that he's created for us who may be not using all of our lung space. It helps to expand the rib cage. It looks like this. May look quite funny, but it really works. Beads of sweat popping off my forehead already. Sends the heat to the muscles. Next, it warms up for Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Opening up from your heels to your fingertips on the left side, stretching everything on the whole left side. So we open up large parts of the body first, moving large muscles first. Very important scientifically to open up and warm up the body that way. And of course, if you're feeling a little cool, that's why the warm room helps you go into this deeper and go past your current point of flexibility. In every pose, by the end of class, you're a new you. Then we do the back bend after this one. Of course, everybody does that at their own pace. And then hands to feet pose, Padastasana. A head to toe stretch. So we're warming up, very important, the large parts of the body first. So a very big part of Bikram Yoga is the strengthening. Most Westerners, not nearly as strong as we could be. So there's a three-part pose here, using the quadriceps. Largest muscles of the body, gets the cardio working, getting a blast to the heart muscle. Then you come up onto the toes, sculpting beautiful leg muscles. Holding these for 10 seconds. Of course, the more you do it every day, the better you get at it. And then the third part of that. It's almost as good as jogging down the street without getting those shin splints. So we hold these a little bit longer than what I'm doing now. Working on the 12 major joints of the body with eagle pose. Flushes the toxins out of the joints, allowing the fresh nutrients to come into the joints, healing. That's the beginning sequence for the major warm-up for the next 2 postures that are a minute long. Opening up the whole backside from head to toe, standing head to knee. I'm doing this fast. You'll be doing it slowly. Of course, it takes a lot of time to get to this place. So wherever anybody is at, you're getting 110% of your own benefits. I have to work harder at it to get my benefits. That was standing head to knee. Opens up the whole back side. Next one, standing bow pulling, opens up the whole front side. Of course, again, wherever you're at, it's perfect. So those are held for a whole minute. It takes a while for the body to really understand what you're asking of it, and then it moves into that place. Of course, using the breath. Next one's only a 10-second pose, balancing stick. Absolutely parallel to the floor. This one gives you the benefits of running a mile down the street and back, standing on one leg, especially for the heart muscle. And you do not want to do these out of sequence or not warmed up. Next one moves into separate leg stretching. I'm going to show you this one from the side. So eventually, you're going to get a 180-degree turn at the coccyx, the tailbone. Forehead's going to touch the floor. Then it moves into triangle. Then I'll face forward. We do a different version of triangle in Bikram. It's a little harder because we need it. So we start with in warrior pose. Then we move into our version of triangle, Trikonasana, where we don't rest our hand on the floor. So you're actually opening, resting, or working the arms up and down in opposite directions, twisting in the spine while strengthening. This one works every single muscle in the body in this version. Strength of body, strength of mind. Last 2 standing poses. Now you want to be back to Paia Shirasana. This one is a very therapeutic pose as well for the endocrine system. That means the hormones. You smile more. If you get them, squeeze the organs more, flushing toxins. last of the standing series, tree pose. And don't forget, I'm doing this quickly. And I practiced it for 10 years, practicing every day. And the second set of tree pose is something called toe stand. And it takes it a step further in strengthening the feet, the ankles, things that support us every day. And the sweat you see on my face is absolutely normal. And that means we're detoxifying. Now the floor series, we actually get a shavasana, what we call corpse pose. Can you still see me? It's a really important time to allow the benefits to take place. All that hard work we've just done, allowing the body to assimilate. So we rest for a couple of minutes, just pretending that we did. Going into the next one. Now we're working into the real yoga. That was warm up in that standing series. We're going to pull and work on the digestive system, strengthening, tightening the muscles in the arms. We're breathing into the belly, massaging the ascending colon. So we don't leave anything out in this yoga. That's the digestive system that we're really working on here with the large hip joint, getting a good compression, getting lots of blood flow and oxygen. Then we do both legs so that we can get to the transverse colon as well and very much opening up the lower back. Transverse colon goes across the top of the belly, the diaphragm. And then we do sit-ups for the belly, abdominal region, in between each and every one of the floor postures. Using the breath like that helps you to go a little deeper. Now for the Cobra series. And it took all of that before now to warm up the body properly to truly get into this and into the places where we don't normally go. So we can go past our current point of flexibility. So this is for the lower back. We hold that a little bit longer. Then we rest in between the poses to make sure that we truly assimilate the benefits of this very important part of the sequence. The next one, Salabhasana, locust. We put our arms right under because we can with this sequencing and the heat. Very good for our carpal tunnel syndrome, elbow problems, tennis elbow. And some people, for this next one, can actually touch their head with their toes. For some of us, we do what we can. Then we rest in between. Next one is Purna Salabhasana, full locust. Now we're working the mid-spinal muscles. The last one was for the upper spine. Reversing the blood flow out of the legs. And the last three poses warmed us up for the next one to get truly into Dhanurasana bow pose. That one is what I call the counter pose to our Western civilization and culture and what it does to our bodies. Then we have a few more. Stretching out the lower spine. Coming forward into fixed firm pose. If you have funky knees in this one, this is really great for the lower limbs and for the knees, which a lot of people have problems with, especially our athletic friends. We're continually working on opening up the vertebra. This one is really good for the psoas muscle. It tends to close down the pelvis, the pelvic region. If you sit in chairs a lot, you need to stretch it open again, and again, and again. Next one, it's kind of the yin and yang effect. Ardha Karmasana. Again, a very therapeutic pose. That one blasts the endocrine system, endocrine glands with oxygen and blood. And then we move into camel pose. Again, these last two poses, last 4 poses have prepared us for these two that are absolutely bringing the balance back into our lives from what our Western culture does to our bodies and our minds. So you never want to do this one cold. You always go deeper in this one. Wherever you're at is perfect. Opening up the whole front side of the body. We breathe deeper, open the organs, work better. Then the next one, again, yin and yang. The body really likes to go that way, the yin and the yang. Rabbit pose, Sasangasana. That one is the most incredible for opening the lower spine lumbar. It's the only way in the world after these postures and this sequence with this heat to open up in the most tightest part of our spine. Next few poses, then we're finished. That was a fast yoga class. Separate leg stretching. You cannot stretch the backs of the legs enough. Everything we do, even walking, shortens them. So we're bringing the heel up. We're also getting the compression again in the thyroid. 99% of all women have a thyroid dysfunction, whether it's 1% or 90%. And working on that thyroid will absolutely reverse that. And how we work on that, and it's very simple in Hatha Yoga, is stretching it, opens it up, squeezing it. That's it. That's the simplicity of Hatha Yoga. The blood flow, how the oxygen flows in and out of every part of the body. This is the last part of the hands to feet pose at the end. This is all about stretching and lengthening, getting the forehead to the toes, not just to the knees, lengthening in the spine. And the very last one is our spinal twist. Massaging the spine, the nervous system. And we actually only do this one once. All the rest we do twice, because it's a pretty powerful pose. And every time we breathe, as we hold it, it goes deeper. And then we do a final breathing, which is quite important to release some toxins, gastric acid from the belly. And it looks like this. We do a whole lot more of that. Namaste.
I really, when seeing you doing the poses again, I'm ready to run back into, to come to class again. I really like class, and I really have appreciated that you've staggered the class times. You know, I'm busy doing, quote, other work. So I really like the fact that you have early times as well as later times. So a busy person like me can get it into my schedule.
And
It's
the
a
funny
great
thing about a busy person, we're all busy, so we think we don't have time to take 90 minutes out for a yoga class. Sting said 5 years ago, and he was quoted in an article in Yoga Journal, a yoga teacher approached him and said, I know I can create more time in your life if you take time out and do 2 hours of yoga with me every day. At the end of the article, he said he never would have believed it. 6 months later, he had more time in his day, because what happens is you're cleaning up and working every system in the body, becoming more synergistically efficient. Therefore, your movements and outside of your body becomes more efficient as well. So it feels like you have more time, you're more clear-headed, and things just move a little more effortlessly and smoother.
Well, you know, I think, like I said, I'm really glad you have a place in Lahaina now, because sometimes coming to Paia is a long haul, different times of day. So I like the fact that we got 2 choices. But even doing this, I really know that, you know, others that have come to class, all have really appreciated. I've seen changes. I mean, I've lost weight, like you say, I've lost weight, I've toned up, my attitude's better, and now after all this other stuff, it's amazing. I crave coming back to yoga class. When I wasn't coming, my whole day was like missing something.
I work with a lot of professional athletes because I was one with windsurfing.
Yeah.
And I didn't know about yoga
Professional windsurfing.
back then. And then when I quit, and I found the yoga, but I also needed it even more then because of the injuries and things and getting older. My thyroid was not working. I was on thyroid medicine. I got off the thyroid medicine completely, and I replaced it with the yoga. And I actually feel like I did in my 20s, now that I'm in my mid-40s, by incorporating this yoga into my life for the last 10 years. And now the professional windsurfers that mostly train here on Maui and in Hood River go to both Bikram Yoga studios in both places to this part of their training. I sponsor the women, especially here on
Wow.
Maui. Gives them the edge.
Well, you know, I don't know what you were like at 20, but I know that in your 40s, you're really looking good. I'm sure that you're a model for a lot of ladies out there, and gentlemen also, who really would like to feel younger as they're growing into their early middle age. You know, we're living longer and longer, and it sure makes sense to me that if we take care of the package, that as our health goes along, being able to move and having more energy can't be beat.
Well, I don't know how old Peter Jennings is. But
Peter
he
Jennings.
he just taped an episode of Nightline doing a Bikram yoga class with Bikram in LA with the 300
good.
students that they normally have in his
Boy,
class.
when you see the Bikram studio there, it's this huge room with a mass of people. You've got a lot of people here also. But, I mean, I guess it's growing.
Now he's training 300 teachers at the moment. He trains 300 teachers at a time, twice a year.
Wow.
They graduate on the 15th of next month, and I've got a student in the training that's coming back. We've had 2 that showed up from the last training that are local Maui people. Just
Wow.
growing like crazy. It's the fastest
Fantastic.
growing yoga, hatha yoga in the world.
Sort of like, I want to say, Bikram. You know, I saw the article when I was in Los Angeles. I went to Los Angeles, and that was the weekend that the LA Times featured a Bikram article. I thought that was interesting. I was almost going to go through the training, but not yet. I'm appreciating coming to your classes. I really have appreciated. You know, that's probably one of the great benefits of doing these TV shows. I get to enjoy different things, and the class with you really has, I want to say, saved my life. Really, it's been helping me. You know, I go to the gym and all that, but yoga really is a part of my life that really can't be replaced by some of these other things. And I'm really thankful to Bikram and to you, Laurel, for bringing this to me and all of you guys. Is there an easy way for people to get in touch with you, or how do they find more information so they might somehow come to one of the classes or a series of classes?
The website has all the details for both studios, the phone numbers and the addresses and the schedule. The website address is all those W's, Bikram Yoga Maui with the little hyphens in between the words, .com. So it's bikram-yoga-maui.com. Nice, short and simple.
You guys see that? Bikram, B-I-K-R-A-M dash yoga dash Maui.com. That's pretty easy.
Yeah.
What about if they don't have a computer? Because I know that some of them don't. Right? Some of you. Some of you don't have a TV. I always wonder how you see these shows without TV, but is there a good phone number for someone to call?
Jason. The phone number for the schedule and addresses for both locations is 876-0052.
Okay, 876-0052. In Paia, when you come into Paia, you're going to see the studio. I'm sure that you say, come on by. You want to start at the beginning of class, because once classes start, it's like the movies where you can't go in the middle. You really want to be in the sequence from the beginning all the way through. I'm sure when you come and enjoy the class, you'll appreciate it. It is an experience. It's sort of, like I say, it is a glorious experience. I never thought that I'd get more energy from knocking myself out. But I really have appreciated it. Thank you for joining me here.
Thank you, Jason.
It's really been a pleasure.
Thank you, Maui.
Laurel White, Bikram Yoga, Maui.
Just want to say one thing that Bikram always says. It's never too late. You're never too old, never too sick, never too anything to start yoga, to put it into your life.
Words of wisdom. Thank you, Laurel. Aloha.